Melanie Naismith here, and this is Sounds Like Us. Today's guest is author and writer Craig Sheather. Sounds Like Us is a community artist project brought to you by Working for Victoria and Tauranga Shire Council. The aim of this series is to shine a light on creatives that have been influenced by the Tauranga Shire and to share a brief snapshot of their journey within the arts. Welcome and thank you for joining us on Sounds Like Us. Appreciate you being part of this project. Your name has come up as part of the Tauranga Shire project because of the books that you've written, specifically Heroes of Black Summer. And also I wanted to ask a little bit about Sparky the Wonder Puppy. Can you tell me how you got into writing? Because this is a new information to me.
Yeah, okay. So if you like, I can start from the beginning and then sort of chat about the books specifically. Yeah. But yeah, writing, I guess, was never really on the radar sort of when I was in high school or even at uni or anything like that. I left high school in 97. And then I went to uni in Melbourne to do a business degree. And then I travelled overseas for a few years and lived overseas. But yeah, I had to come home. I just had some health problems. So I needed a back operation, and the recovery time after that was quite long. And so I didn't really want to be sitting around doing anything. I just thought to myself, what's sort of my dream job, I guess. So I had the travel bug. And I thought, well, a travel writer would be pretty cool. So, yeah, I had a few months sort of just at my parents' house recovering, and I enrolled in an online course. It was a diploma of journalism / travel writing and photography. So I knocked that over pretty quickly. And then, yeah, I went back overseas and I just started, journaling a little bit. And then at the time, there was a backpacker magazine going around called TNT Backpackers, and they had some sort of reader stories that you could write in. It wasn't a paid gig or anything. You could send your stories in. You might get a free Lonely Planet guide or a pair of hiking boots or something like that.
Free stuff's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started writing a few articles for them. And I started to build up a bit of a catalogue. And when I got home, I just started pitching some ideas to other magazines, Great Walks magazine and a few others. So I was a bit cheeky at the time. I cut off the top little banner that said Readers' Stories, and I had sort of maybe 8 or 10 of these TNT backpacker style articles, and then I told everyone that I was pitching to that I was a regular contributor. So they thought I had the runs on the ground. So it sort of all started from there. Yeah, I started writing for some magazines that have come and have sort of been on the shelf and dwindled away over time. But yeah, just focusing on travel and walking, bushwalking, that kind of thing. Like walking became sort of part of my recovery as well. So it kind of, that passion was, I guess, ignited as well. And I started writing for Great Walks magazine. Yeah, there was a few other camping ones on the road. And then, I guess, more recently in 2018, I pitched an idea to Woodflame Press, and they had a walking guide series. So that's when I commenced my first book, which is on the Victorian High Country, specific to walking. And after that, I followed up in 2019 with Best Walks of East Melbourne. And then we were going to start some other projects last year. Obviously, travel with all the COVID situation was off limits. So, yeah, and obviously the bushfire thing was kicking off. The Sparky picture book idea sort of just fell in my lap. I'd seen the the picture of Sparky, the wonder puppy with his little burnt paws at the Tintaldra pub up there. And I think it was about a day later, I was driving home from work and I heard Carolina, Sparky's mum, on the radio giving an interview about what happened to Sparky. So I went home and I kind of slept on it for a bit, and I kept looking at the photo and thought, geez, that'd make a good little picture book story. Like, it was, really a remarkable story of survival. So, yeah, I tracked down family and gave Mick a call, and they were doing it pretty tough at the time because they'd lost their home, and they were going through all that process of trying to get help. Fairly traumatic experience. So I was really mindful of, I didn't really want to exploit the situation or anything, and I explained that I was purely going into it as a possibility that it might happen, and that we would donate books, and it wouldn't be a profit-making thing for me. So they were on board straight away. So it was a funny conversation at first, that after sort of going through all the trauma that they'd been through, we were talking about the book, and he actually said to me that the night before he'd said to his wife, Carolina, that, it would make a great picture book. So that sort of the worlds collided and all lined up, and we were all on the same page, which was really good.
Oh, that's so cool. So how long did it take? I'm assuming that was therapy for them as well, to have something else to focus on.
Yeah, I think so. And that was, I guess, the intention of it, to keep them involved throughout the whole process, which was fairly involved purely because of the traumatic nature of it. So, yeah, I did up the initial manuscript and had to get it assessed professionally by different manuscript assessors, and it underwent child psychologist reports. Yeah, so it was put under a lot of scrutiny. Even the images, there's so much detail within the images that, we had to really analyse and make sure it was going to be a positive tool and not a negative thing.
How did you go moving through those restrictions and barriers as well? Was that harder for you because there was such a personal story attached to it, or did it drive you a little bit harder?
Yeah, look, there was plenty of hurdles along the way, because Australian Geographic, who were the publisher, they were really keen on the idea, but we needed a bit of funding behind us. It wasn't going to be a normal sort of project from a traditional publishing sense. That it was a unique thing, that we wanted to use an Australian illustrator, we wanted to use an Australian publisher, to make it environmentally friendly and have that really ethical, strong selling point, support local business, reduce the carbon footprint, all that kind of thing. So the cost of it was sort of, I guess, about 4 times more than what it would normally be. So the funding part was a bit tricky, and getting everyone on board, some sponsors, obviously getting the manuscript assessment and getting through those hurdles and the child psychologist reports. So yeah, there was plenty of, it was a bit of a roller coaster, but I guess the most rewarding thing at the end of the day is that, once we had it in our hands and we did the book release, the launch up in Corryong, and you could see the reaction from the kids and the feedback started to come in, that it was a really good thing, a positive thing, that, even though it was a year afterwards, the book was released in February this year, so it was just after a year since the fires had ripped through there. There was still a lot of this lingering trauma within the community. So speaking to some of the teachers and the counsellors, it was just a really good time to get people talking about it again, which was, I guess, the intention of it anyway, to be a positive tool to get children and adults to talk about their experiences. So it's been really good, the feedback.
Craig, thank you so much for being an amazing human and spending your time to create something so helpful to such a damaged community. There's been a lot of probably negative things that have happened, but there's also been a lot of positives, I believe, to come out of things, like real show of character and determination in people and resilience. Just lastly, how do we get on and find these books? what's the most easiest way to access them?
Yeah, so the Sparky book is available on the Australian Geographic website and also the distributor, which is Woods Lane. So you can just do a basic Google search for Sparky and Australian Geographic, and you'll be able to order them online. I've also got a batch of books that if anyone wants to get in contact with me, I can send out. Locally, Lisa Greenhill is selling them from the post office at Corrion for the Sparky books. So the thing about ordering online, you've got the added cost of postage of about $12. So anyone local can just duck in and into the Corrion post office and grab one.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Craig Sheather, for being part of Sounds Like Us and, like I said, being an incredible human. Today's episode of Sounds Like Us was hosted by Melanie Naismith and produced by Joshua Liston. Sounds Like Us was made possible by Working for Victoria and Tauranga Shire Council. For more information on Sounds Like Us and to hear more episodes from local creatives, go to tauranga.vic.gov.au.